In this culture, a tree is not a thing. A tree is a living being, you know? So like the people would refer to their trees in pretty much the same sense you would refer to a human being. You would say to a tree, she provided me with this and that. You don't refer to it with the term it. When you ask a farmer about what they witnessed when Israeli bulldozers have destroyed their own trees, and everyone will tell you it's like killing my father, or it's like killing my son. People refer to the destruction of the olive trees in the same sense as you would refer to the destruction of life, because it represents life. The state of Israel has been working continuously on destroying and removing and uprooting or stealing like Palestinian olive trees. When you are standing before 4,000 or 5,000 years olive trees, you realize that the life in Palestine has started a long time ago. Olive trees were planted in Palestine, supposedly by the Greeks or the ancient Greeks that dominated over the region about 4,000 or 5,000 years ago. As you might understand, olive trees are not wild trees. They don't grow by themselves. They need human care in order to continue to survive, in order to continue to produce. So for at least 5,000 years, there have been people who cared for the olive trees in the land of Palestine. You never plant an olive tree for yourself to eat from. You usually plant it for the future generations. The olive tree represents a form of continuity of survival, of continuity of livelihood, of continuity of any society that has the luck to live on the land of Palestine. All religions that existed on this land for the past 4,000 or 5,000 years have given a sacred value for the olive tree itself. The significance of an olive tree as an olive tree branch is a symbol for peace. That's inspired by a dove coming back to Noah's Ark with an olive branch on its beak, and that was the sign that the flood disappeared. It's a symbol for peace, and a symbol for life. It's a symbol for end of a catastrophe. Besides its religious significance, the olive tree has an economic significance. More than 60% of the urban land of Palestine is covered with olive trees. Olive trees contribute about 40% of the Palestinian productive economy in terms of olives, in terms of oil, in terms of using olive oil as one of the basics for for example, producing soap. Producing soap in Palestine is about like a 900 to 1,000 years old industry. It's not an industry of yesterday, and that's because of olive oil.
In our beginning, we started cooperative like 2005. We were in the beginning. We were 5 women who started this project. It's most of us we lost our job. For example, it's like me myself. I study nursing and I work as a nurse for 7 years. I used to go to Jerusalem every day and it was perfect in that time. And since they start to put the checkpoints and they make it like really border for Palestinian, so we collect ourselves and we start this project. Well, now we are 15 women. Part of us we work with the soaps, and the other part they work with the embroidery. As you see, it's like we try to mix the embroidery with the soaps. With the oil, what we use, it's not the rest of the oil that people they don't want to eat. It's like the good quality, but it's like from the last year, not from the main season. It's a time that we are helping the farmers because really it's hard for them to sell their oil. It's hard for them to pick even the olives.
Also, we have a 400 or 500 years like industry connected to olive trees and continues to exist until today, which is olive wood crafts. Like when we have pilgrims coming to Palestine, they get a chance to buy a piece of Palestine, and that's an olive wood craft.
In Bethlehem region, we have about 300 to 400 small family business factory, like 1 or 2 people working in their home. Now, olive wood, we buy it from the farmers who prune the trees in October, November, and December. After the harvest period, they cut the branches, and there is commercial people who collect this wood and bring it to us and to sell it. After the year 2007, Bethlehem found itself surrounded with a wall. Not easy to go in and out between Bethlehem and Jerusalem. Before, the small families who have like one person, he has a small workshop, he work at home. In the end of the week, he go to sell it in Jerusalem. But today, he can't carry the bag because it's illegal to enter Jerusalem with a small quantity of goods. So now these families are suffering. They have to sell their goods less than cost just to keep living.
Olive trees also have inspired many social phenomena that you would see in Palestine. You would go into somebody's house and you'll be stunned by their hospitality, given the fact that Palestinians live under a merciless form of oppression. So you would think, like, how come you are surviving like racist oppression and yet you are inviting people in, you are being kind and hospitable to people? If you think of an olive tree that survives in a hard nature like Palestine, we have a very hard environment, and yet you have an olive tree that survives through that hard nature, and you come to it in October and gives you generously. So that's a form of like the hospitality of the olive tree or the generosity of the olive tree. Also, you find like references to olive trees in much of our novels, in much of our poetry, in much of our celebrations. You always find a reference to that because it's the only living being that we have had on the land of Palestine for 2, 3, 4,000 or 5,000 years. The state of Israel, over the past 69 years, had a propaganda machine that deceives people into believing that the state of Israel is 4,000 years old, or the state of Israel has existed for 4,000 years old, making sure that nobody remembers that the state of Israel was established in Palestine in 1948. One of the things they use to deceive people is using like Palestinian elements, like Palestinian embroidery, Palestinian kufiyas, Palestinian food, and Palestinian olive trees to be some kind of like part of the Israeli culture. The only Palestinian that is not part of the Israeli culture is the Palestinian himself.